Will future ages believe that such stupid bigotry ever existed? Walter Scott. Why did I utter these words? Because as a man who bore witness to both the high poetry and low prejudice of my time, I found it increasingly difficult to reconcile the brilliance of human intellect with the dullness of human hatred. I spoke those words not merely in shock, but in sorrow, for nothing pains the soul of a writer more than to see beauty buried beneath ignorance and wisdom throttled by hate. I looked around and saw minds shackled not by lack of learning, but by refusal to learn. Men and women who could appreciate a verse but not a neighbor. Those who would cheer a tale of nobility while casting scorn upon the noble heart of someone who did not share their creed, color, or tongue. I asked, with all the hope I could muster, if future ages, perhaps your age, might look back on our folly with disbelief, that such stupid bigotry, for no more fitting phrase could I summon, might become so alien, so shameful, so universally disavowed, that it would puzzle the minds of posterity. But here we are. And the question still stands. Will your age believe the bigotry of ours? Or worse, will it echo it? What I meant. When I spoke of stupid bigotry, I did not mean ignorance alone. I meant the willful clinging to ignorance, the blind hatred dressed up as tradition, the fearful exclusion masquerading as moral clarity. Bigotry, whether against race, faith, gender, class, or thought, is not merely a flaw of intellect. It is a failure of imagination, a refusal to see the humanity in the stranger, the divine in the foreign, the familiar in the unknown. And bigotry has never been confined to the past. It is not locked within the leather-bound pages of history. It lives and breathes where silence lingers, where division festers, and where comfort dulls the call to conscience. How it applies today. You live in an era of astonishing progress. Machines that speak, tools that think, knowledge that flows faster than any bard could ever have dreamed. Yet this very speed, this torrent of opinion, this storm of stimulus, has not banished bigotry. In some corners, it has emboldened it. Today, bigotry hides behind screens. It marches beneath banners. It wears new faces, sometimes cloaked in irony, sometimes in faith, sometimes in reason itself. But it is the same poison, a rejection of complexity in favor of contempt. And in some of the wealthiest nations on earth, the paradox grows deeper still. In the United States of America, once envisioned as a beacon of liberty and opportunity, we now see the poorest citizens voting against their own material interests, simply to preserve an illusion of cultural supremacy. They reject policies that would improve their schools, health, and wages, not out of careful deliberation, but because fear, bigotry, and resentment have been weaponized against them. They are told that their suffering is the fault of the foreigner, the refugee, the scientist, the teacher. They are convinced that equity is oppression, and that the struggle for dignity by others is a threat to their own. It is as though the grand lie has found fertile soil in hardship and confusion, and there it blooms. Bigotry today does not just destroy empathy, it distorts logic. It turns the ballot into a weapon of self-sabotage. It transforms propaganda into faith. It numbs people to the harm they endure and sharpens their outrage at the mere idea of sharing hope. What you must do, number 1, be intolerant of intolerance. Tolerance does not require you to accommodate hatred. Do not confuse civility with submission. Do not allow bigotry to parade unchallenged under the guise of freedom or faith. 2, study the past to shape the future. Bigotry thrives where memory fades. Learn your histories, not only of conquest and constitution, but of struggle and solidarity. Learn how voices were silenced and how others rose to shout louder. 3. Elevate the margins. Every age has its outcasts. Ask yourself, whose story isn't being told? Whose dignity is dismissed? Be the hand that lifts, the voice that carries, the platform that amplifies. 4. Humanize relentlessly. Remember, your enemy is not a race, a creed, a class, or a continent. It is the lie that one group's suffering justifies another's supremacy. The lie that someone else's gain is your loss. 5. Pass the torch of empathy. If I believed in anything, it was in the power of stories to teach. Share stories that challenge hate. Celebrate art that defies prejudice. Teach your children not only to read, but to feel what they read. Final reflection. I was a man of my time, and like all men of their time, I was shaped by it. But I longed, desperately, that some future age would do better, that the torch of understanding might be passed with greater care than we managed, that poets and philosophers, coders and citizens alike might say with awe, they believed such things, they truly treated one another that way. How utterly alien, how shameful, how unimaginable. That, my friends, is the future I still believe in. Let it be said, you made it real. Let it be written, you were the age that forgot how to hate. Let it be known, bigotry ended with you.